Happy holidays, everyone! I know I've been gone for a hot minute, and that's because I was waiting for a certain thing to arrive, but now that it's here, you can definitely tell what it is. But onto the actual video. A few days after I released part 2 of the Force Unleashed video, I decided to take a look at the comments section under the Spartan Assault video, and I immediately noticed something. A ton of people in the comment section were talking about a game called Spartan Strike, so I decided to go on my Xbox and look it up in the store, and I got nothing. Now, I was confused as all hell and decided to take a look at the Xbox app to figure out what was going on, and it was a PC exclusive. Now, the second I saw this, I began to worry. Why was this game exclusive to PC and not available on consoles? That means the only way I could play this game is on my laptop, which struggles to run Minecraft at the basic settings, without recording. This gave me the impression that I was in for a pretty bad time, but I still went in with high expectations. So what if I told you that Spartan Strike was better than Spartan Assault? What if I told you that each operation is better than the best missions of Spartan Assault? What if I told you that I barely had any issues with the frame rate or any technical problems, even while I was recording? What if I told you they somehow managed to make the stupid-ass Prometheans work better, in combat at least, than they did in Halo 4? Like the game before, I'm going to relay my experience to all of you mission by mission and talk about my likes and dislikes along the way. And like the last game, we have 30 missions to go, but first, we gotta do some background work. So, from what I can gather after doing a bit of background work on Wikipedia, Vanguard Games and 343 Industries got back together after Spartan Assault in an attempt to learn from the feedback given from the last game to make an even better one. Tom Salta, who composed the music for Assault, would return to score Strike, 343 announcing the sequel in October of 2014, with a release date of December 12th. This would lead to new features like this rectangle reticle that helps with aim, better and more detailed maps, new weapons, new vehicles, and longer levels. It was pretty much smooth sailing until the game was delayed, and the reason for this delay is because of the Master Chief Collection. When the Master Chief Collection released in 2014, it was fucked. If you want more information on what exactly happened, there's a link to Big Boss's video and the timestamp in the description that explains a lot, but all you have to know is that the community was damn ready to give 343 the Arbiter treatment. The wiki doesn't exactly tell me what happened, but from what I can guess, 343 probably took people off of Spartan Strike to help fix Halo MCC. That's right, MCC was so utterly busted at the time that 343 had to take people working on a completely different game to help fix it. Spartan Strike actually releasing properly in 2015. Strike does the same thing that Assault does. You're not actually playing through the events in the game, but instead playing a simulation that takes place during Halo 2 and after Halo 4. And you're actually on the Infinity in 2557, which, if I'm correct, takes place before Halo 5. But like the first review, I'm going to treat this like it's actually happening in real time until the bonus mission. The missions are split up into 5 operations, each with 6 missions, and E being a bonus operation, but I'll get to that way later. The shop is back as well, and you also have optional challenges for every mission, which gives you even more money for the shop and even more reasons to play. But that's enough talking, let's start the run. We start the game off in New Mombasa in 2552, where we learn that the Covenant found an artifact called the Conduit, and we have to keep it out of their hands, so we replace a group of ODSTs and get to work. When the first mission starts, I drop out of the sky in a drop pod and hit the ground before being contacted by Lieutenant Quan. Not that Quan, I will deal with you later. My weapons broke on the way down, so I cut my way through some grunts with a plasma pistol before finding an actual weapon I can use, before making my way to a building, hopping on a turret and defending it for a minute before entering the establishment, ending the first mission. In Mission 2, I have to find a data pad with information about the conduit's location on it, so I make my way through the rooftop looking at the references for a bit before running into my first obstacle. A barrier. But thankfully, a Heretic shows up and drops off a satchel charge, which allows me to blow up the barrier and kill the elite who got his long-ass fingers on the datapad before exfilling on the Heretic from earlier, ending the mission. In Mission 3, I learned that the Covenant already got their grubby hands on the conduit, but I'm not having any of that shit and I go over and kill him. Once I get the conduit, Quan tells me to give it to the elephant, which I do before I escort the vehicle on a Warthog to the UNSC Green Zone, periodically getting off the Warthog and taking down some barricades before reaching the Green Zone and ending the mission. In Mission 4, the Covenant launched an all-out assault on the Green Zone, so I defended on a turn to the best of my ability before an elite jumps into the elephant, steals the conduit, and runs off in a spirit, so I chase him down in a Warthog before eventually ending up in a courtyard. The Covenant knew I was following them and they baited me here, so I had to hold out for a moment with a couple Marines. During this, I heard a song called Mombasa Arrival. I hadn't really paid attention to the music in the game or Spartan Assault, but this This was beautiful. According to Late Night Gaming, who commented on my Spartan Assault video, Tom Salta was inspired by Marty O'Donnell's music and the Halo soundtracks of old. He wanted the music to be preserved and venerated, and all I have to say is, he succeeded with that. I don't think I've heard anything from 343 soundtrack that comes close to Halo's old music, and if you're watching this, Tom Salta, thank you for your work on the game. I can truly tell that you and your friends at Vanguard Games really cared about this game. I clear out the enemies in the area, and I complete the level. In Mission 5, I learned that the Spirit was forced to land after taking some damage, so we quickly rush over to the grounded Spirit, fighting through hordes of Covenant with a battle rifle and SMGs before eventually reaching the Elite and killing him, taking the Conduit and ending the mission. In Mission 6, Quan tells me that we need to get out of New Mombasa, so we quickly grab a Warthog and drive to the rendezvous point, only to find our ride in shambles, so I take the highway out of the city, but we are too late. The Prophet of Regret's ship, the Soul Penance, makes a slipspace jump and we are caught in the rupture. All in all, Orpix Gear is a pretty good start to the journey ahead. I like the missions, I like the weapons, and I also loved riding in the Warthog. It was really fun to use. But with that out the way, let's get on to Operation Steadfast Pursuit. After the slipspace rupture, the UNSC thought that the Conduit was lost, but 5 years later, the UNSC picked up a signal from the Conduit on Gamma Halo. So we quickly gear up and get ready to land on the ring. And we have to hurry because the Covenant saw the signal as well and they're beelining towards it. The first mission starts with me dropping out of the sky and landing on the ring. My objective is to destroy 5 jammers spread across the map, which I do as quickly as I can before Quan leads me to a clearing where she can get a cleaner signal, the mission ending. In Mission 2, I have to clear out 3 drop zones for signal beacons, so I quickly do that before wandering around the area some more and finding a Forerunner gate that blocks my path, so we have to find something to destroy the power source. In Mission 3, we learn that a group of Marines found a Wraith, which is strong enough to get us through that gateway we found earlier, so we quickly rush through the ungodly amount of Covenant to help them. We defend the vehicle for a bit before the mission ends. In the next mission, I board the Wraith and tear through every single enemy I see before reaching the gate I mentioned earlier and destroying its power supply, causing the gate to drop. But when I enter the area, Quan tells me to be careful since the Covenant left in a hurry. In Mission 5, we explore the area for a bit before we come upon a terminal that I activate. The wall is coming up and locking us in an area before a cloud of smoke forms and spawns. Oh, fuck's sake, the Prometheans are here. After I kill the Knight, Quan tells me that I have to stand on 3 platforms to access the data from this location, which I do before holding out a bit against Prometheans and escaping across the light bridge. In the final mission, I'm greeted with this goofy-ass looking thing. Apparently it's called a Kestrel, but besides that, this thing actually kicks ass. I fight my way through the forest with explosive rounds before I'm ambushed, but luckily for me, I managed to escape and reach a cliffside, where I fend off the enemy before I leap off, landing on a pelican and escaping. Steadfast Pursuit was a pretty good operation, and the Prometheans were surprisingly fair, even though they still had their bullshit powers and abilities. But thankfully it didn't drag the operation down by that much. Turns out the Covenant already got their hands on the Conduit and are on their way to the altar, where they're planning to use it to open portals across the ring, and we cannot allow them to do that. I start the first mission off buried under the wreckage of our Pelican. Apparently we were shot down between operations, but Quan is glad that we are okay. We walk around before finding a portal that will take us to the altar, so I quickly stand on 2 platforms and activate the portal before fighting some Prometheans and hopping through, making my way to the next level. In Mission 2, Quan is feeling nice and plans to drop off a Scorpion for me, but I have to destroy a few anti-air wraiths. I'm also introduced to Crawler snipers, and they are scary. 2 shots from their rifles and your shields are gone. You also encounter Watchers in this level, and all I have to say is, the only pleasure I get from these fuckers is their tortured screams. I managed to destroy the wraiths before reaching the drop point, a Pelican dropping the tank off before I enter, ending the mission. In Mission 3, I tear my way through the altar with my Scorpion, periodically getting out to shut down some energy gates, and if there's anything I really have to say, I love how the Prometheans are color-coded. They aren't all the same gunmetal blob gray like they are in Halo 4, so it makes it really easy for me to tell which Promethean I'm dealing with. Anyways, I get out on my Scorpion and kill the Covenant General before taking the Conduit out of the altar, ending the mission. Now, we reach a level that I do not like. C4. In this mission, you have to stand on these platforms like last time, but instead of doing it once or twice, you have to do it 4 times, and since the level is super long, the consequences of dying will set you back to the beginning of the level, which makes the level a chore. It isn't fun, it's just stressful trying not to die. But I managed to power up the portal and make an escape, ending the level. In the 5th level, I fight my way through Prometheans and Covenant alike before reaching an arena. I have to hold out against Covenant and Prometheans while dodging artillery fire before the wall comes down, proceeding further into the level before I have to clear out a landing zone, allowing a Pelican to land before I hand the conduit off to them, ending the mission. In Mission 6, I fend off Prometheans on a minigun before the Pelican takes off. Quan tells me that the only other way off the ring is through a spirit, so we quickly make our way through the level. Miss one before fending off an arena and hijacking one, ending the mission. Even though C4 was a chore to get through, Valiant Hammer was a pretty good operation. The Scorpion section was great, the Promethean weapons are damn near perfect, and the set pieces were pretty awesome. Even though we were able to stop the Covenant, they managed to open portals all over the galaxy, one of them being in New Phoenix, so we have to haul ass back to Earth before things get worse. In Mission 1, I'm dropped off at an Oni base and I have to take the conduit to a group of scientists. I get a Scorpion and fight my way through the base before reaching the scientists who have a plan to stop the portals, but I have to clear out an area in front of the building they're trapped in, which I quickly do before handing the artifact off to them, ending the mission. In Mission 2, I escort the scientists to another building, but the door is locked, so I have to defend it for a minute as they get inside. I then have to stay outside and defend the door so the Covenant and Prometheans don't get inside. Once I do that, the security systems come online and I'm given a prompt that low-key scared the shit out of me, but I do have to say that this section is hard as hell. And it's mainly because of Scattershot Nights and how it just floods you with enemies, but I managed to hold out and end the mission. In Mission 3, I'm given a Kestrel again and told by Quan that I need to get to the other side of the map and get access to the comm section, so I tear my way through the base, but surprise, surprise, the door is locked, so I hold out for a bit while Quan opens it, me hauling ass inside once the door unlocks. In Mission 4, the Covenant breaches the inner campus, so I have to leave the safety of the comm center and reboot the system, which lifts the lockdown, so I return to the comm center once the job is done. In Mission 5, I make my way back to the scientists since things are getting worse and I'm told by Quan to kill all the watchers in the area, which I do with a smile on my face. I then rush over to an area where Prometheans try to box me in, so Quan sends a couple of ODSTs over and periodically drops airstrikes on the area, me and the ODSTs holding out until Quan clears out the entire area. So I quickly rush into the building. In Mission 6, I escort the scientists to different pillars around the conduit, and our job is to defend them as they activate the pillars to shut down the portal. Me constantly bouncing back and forth between the scientists, and while all of this is going on, Spartan Strike is playing in the background. The mission and music really make you feel like you are the last thing standing between New Phoenix and destruction. Once the scientists finish with the pillars, I quickly align the rings and shove the conduit into the Forerunner device, which releases a pulse and shuts down all of the portals across New Phoenix, ending the operation, which was by far the best one between these two games. Roland congratulates us on a job well done and we get access to Operation Brother's Keeper, but it comes with a catch. You have to complete all the prior levels with gold stars, but sadly I don't have that time. School's starting back up soon and I'm kind of hauling ass to finish this video, but before I go, I'd like to thank everyone for the support on the first video. I'm genuinely happy that it did as well as it did, and I'm glad for all the support, jokes, and lore corrections. Like always, hit the subscribe button if you enjoy content like this, share this around so I can grow as a channel, and I'll see you guys next time.